Hello there guys, it's CoolFox over here, and today I'm bringing an unboxing and review of the Vivibright F40 Full HD Home Projector. So starting off with the unboxing, on the front you can see a picture of the projector itself with a remote control that's included inside of the box. You can also see that this is natively 1080p. It does state that it has an output of 4200 lumens, which is very bright, and I can assure you that this is quite bright. In fact, it should get up to 112 inches according to the box, although on Amazon itself the listing says that it can even go up to 300 inches. Now in my case I am using somewhere around 100 to 120 inches, so I cannot really test out 300 inches. You also have USB inputs, so you can obviously insert hard drives or pen drives to watch videos. It does have a keystone adjustment, which is also really good, so if you're at an angle to the screen you can always change the keystone adjustment. And then it also has hi-fi stereo speakers, which are actually really good, and we'll get into that later on as well. Now on the other sides of the box there is a bit of information as well, but basically the most important information listed is on the right side. Now they also state the chip that they use, which is the M-Star V56 chip, which is also on some other projectors such as the Vankyo projectors. But nonetheless I cannot really give a comparison since I do not own one. You can also see here that it is natively 1080p, so as I said before, it does not only support 1080p but it actually outputs 1080p. And then here on the bottom you can also see what connections it has. It does not have LAN support, so you cannot connect Ethernet cables to it. It does have an SPDIF port, 2 USB ports, 1 HDMI port, an audio out port, and also 2 infrared receivers, which we will go through later on. And on the back you will find some more information, and since this is mainly targeted as a gaming projector, you will find a bit of information on that as well. But nonetheless, opening up the box, on the side you will find all the cables needed as well as the remote control and some manuals. And then you will find the projector itself inside of some foam, and when taking out the top piece you will find that there is also a case included. So inside the case there will be the projector as well as a piece of paper. So on this piece of paper you will find some safety measures, and as you can see there are a few different languages as well, so I would recommend that you give this a quick read. And now going through the bag, inside you will find these items, and starting off from the right you can see that you have a simple happy or not happy card, and it basically states their email and website, and also a few things that you can do if you are not satisfied. Then you will find the remote, and taking a quick look at it you can tell that it is fully made out of plastic, apart from these rubber parts here, which are obviously the controls. And this is very good to have since the projector itself is equipped with 2 infrared sensors, so you can easily use this as to not get up and to not reach at the back of the projector itself. Then you will find 2 power cables. One of them is a UK style plug with 3 pins, and the other is European style with 2 pins. So this is because I bought it from amazon.co.uk, therefore you will be supplied with a UK plug for the UK and also a European plug for the European market. Then you will find a piece of cloth, and then you will get the owner's manual, and as you can tell this is actually quite long, so if you get stuck and need some help you can always come and check the owner's manual. And now the next thing that we will take a look at is the case itself. Now if you check out other unboxing videos of this projector you will not find this case, as I believe this was an addition for the UK market, and therefore this is why you will not find this in the older videos, since this was a pretty new addition. So on the front you get 2 Vivibright logos. Looking at the back side you can see that it is quite plain as well, and then you'll find 2 zippers, which obviously when you unzip them will open up the bag and will reveal the space for the projector itself. Now obviously as you can see there is barely any room left for cables, but you do get a little mesh pocket here on the side, which can store a few cables if you want. And apart from that you also get some mesh pockets on the side, so if the cables don't fit inside you can always fit them on the outside. And then the last thing are the handles. So obviously these are used to carry the projector, and therefore I would say that this is quite a nice addition to find in your package. And basically this means that the projector is more portable than before, which I am a big fan of. And now moving on to the main item, the projector. You can see that it will come inside of a plastic bag, and the first thing that you will notice is the logo here, which actually lights up when you connect power to it. So it will be lit up red when it's not in use and green when it's on. I think this is a pretty good addition as well, although not everyone will be a fan of it since it will obviously be using power constantly if you don't turn it off from the switch on the back. But I think an indicator to show if it's working or not is good to have. Now apart from that, as you can see on the top there's basically nothing else. It is all made out of plastic as well, which is fine since obviously it will be a lot more lightweight. Now moving on to the front, you can see that there's the Vivibright logo, one of the infrared sensors, and obviously the lens itself. So on this side you will find the focus knob here, and then you will find the keystone knob. And here you will also find the two hi-fi speakers, and I can say that these actually produce a really good sound, so if you do not have dedicated speakers, these will suffice pretty well. Now moving on to the back, you'll find all the controls here on the right side, the I/O port here on the top, which as I said before, it does have two USB ports, one HDMI port, an SPDIF port, a 3.5mm port, and also the other infrared sensor. So if you're viewing it from the back, the remote will also work. Then you will find the power plug here with the power switch. So obviously you have the power on switch and enter buttons. You get some seek buttons here, so backwards, forwards, up and down. And you also get the menu button here on the bottom, a back button, and a source button here on the top left. And the last side is dedicated to cooling, so as you can see there are two ports here for the fans, and this is obviously needed since these projectors get really hot and you will need some fans to cool it down. Now on the bottom you will find the model number, which is F40. You will find some basic specifications again, and also the power input. So if you want to use other cables, be sure that they supply this amount of power. And then you will find 4 rubber feet here, which are obviously there to reduce noise, shakage and overall slippage if it's on a slippery material, and also a foot here which extends it upwards, but unfortunately you cannot go in between. So if you want to put it, for example, at half the height, you need to make sure that it's supported and that it will not fall. And apart from those, you do also get some thread points here, so if you want to hook it up to a projector stand or something of that sort, you can also do that. So here, as you can see, this is basically my current setup. You can see that the projector itself is on top of a box since the shelf does not extend enough because of the power cable on the back. But nonetheless, you can also see that there's a piece of paper underneath the projector, and this is basically to elevate it to how much I would have liked. Obviously with the foot included, you cannot really go that high since the foot itself goes a lot higher than that. And as you can tell as well from the background noise, it does produce a lot of fan noise, which is very common with these projectors. And if you haven't seen one of my other projector reviews, I do have an info card here on the top to go and check them out. And basically you can tell that they also produce a lot of fan noise, especially the 720p projector. So when plugging in the cable and switching it on, you can see that it will start displaying a red color on the logo. And once you turn it on from the projector, it will turn to a green color. You can see that the fans will start kicking up. It will also sound a little jingle and a small introduction screen, and then it will turn up to obviously try and search for the HDMI and also the USB source. Since all of the controls are on the back, you have to obviously reach out and try and figure out where the buttons are. So that is why the remote control is very useful for this projector. So now showing a clip from Rango. You can see that the colors are pretty good and also the brightness is pretty good, and in this case we will also test out the hi-fi speakers built into the projector itself.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Alright, now listen up. Things are going to be different around here now that Rango's in town. Got some new rules. I want my shoes shined every morning with coffee hot. Danish on the side. Whatever you do, don't look me in the eye.
Okay, so as you can tell, the hi-fi speakers actually drown out the fan noise by themselves, so you don't really need to worry about the fan noise being too overwhelming. Now also here I have created my own preset for the picture quality, as the default picture quality was a bit too bright in my opinion and blew out the highlights by a lot, and we will in fact go through the menu right now. So pressing on the menu button, you can see that you have a few different options here. So for example, you can change the language from English to a few other languages. Then you can also change the picture mode, as I said before, and in fact this is what I think is the best picture settings. The default picture quality is set to medium, and as you can see it is quite bright and you will start to see a lot of dots in the picture, so I would recommend that you bring down the brightness by quite a bit and also the other settings, just so that you get the best viewing experience. You also have movie, obviously the user defined one, which I did, and dynamic. So obviously through all of these I would suggest that you do your own setting. Then you can also change the color temperature from cool, medium, warm or user, so you can obviously define one yourself, but I find that leaving it at medium is pretty good, so I do not bother with that. The aspect ratio you can leave at just scan, and this basically finds the aspect ratio of the connected device, which in this case is 16:9. You can also reduce the display size, as you can see here, and as you can see it will reduce the size to whichever setting you put it at. And then you can also change the sound mode of the hi-fi speakers, and I found that leaving them at standard is pretty good by itself, so you do not really need to worry about that. You can also put up surround sound, and this will be virtual since there are only 2 speakers, but if you are into surround sound I would suggest that you give this a try yourself. You also have SPDIF mode, so if you have something connected to the SPDIF port you can obviously turn it on. Then you can also flip it into various different modes, so obviously if it's mounted upside down the flip function will be very useful. As you can see, something more colorful such as Cocoa also shows the pretty good colors that this projector reproduces, and I would say that overall the viewing experience will be very good if you are watching movies and even playing games. And speaking about games, this is a test while playing Dirt Rally 2.
5, 4, 6 left, into 3 right long, opens 30, 3 right long tightens, into sun, turn 2 left, 50, 2 right long tightens, into 3 left, into 3 right.
So in my opinion, while playing Dirt Rally, I did not really notice any noticeable lag. And when I moved the wheel on the screen moved, so the input lag is really low. So compared to other projectors, this is really good to see. And in fact, the picture did not hinder my performance. The only thing that hindered my performance was actually the setup, because for me to set up my wheel in front of the projector was a big pain. But nonetheless, you can see that everything worked really well, and I had a really good time playing Dirt Rally on this projector. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. This was CoolFox, and I'm out. Peace.